I'm breathing underwater, I'm weightless through space. I'm soaring like an eagle all over this place. Creatures most will never see are waiting there to look at me, and all I gotta do is breathe underwater.
We begin today with a tribute to Nikola Tesla.
Your name? We're asking your name.
Lee Crane.
I may have been mistaken. We're actually watching Captain Crane getting brainwashed.
You have sworn allegiance to what national government?
The United States of...
You have sworn allegiance to what national government?
The People's Republic.
These days, when we hear that phrase, we automatically think of China, but there are a dozen or so countries out there, most of them totalitarian, that call themselves the People's Republic of whatever. We've seen many times that in these 60s shows we couldn't bring ourselves to say Russia or the Soviet Union or the Eastern Bloc or even the Iron Curtain. To this day, I don't know why. But keeping it nice and vague like this means we don't have to narrow down which country we're going to piss off. Whichever People's Republic this is, they have some specific things they want Crane to do, up to and including killing Admiral Nelson. He should spend some time at the range before he does. Nelson's heart is about here. He hit that cutout about here, which might damage a lung and bung up a shoulder, but those shots aren't likely to kill him. These guys have some gadgets for him too, but we'll see those later. Let's peek in on the Seaview as she prepares for her latest mission.
All right, take it up, let's free in, and we'll swing it into position.
They're super-powered nuclear missiles, but they look like they should pop open into giant flowers. Here's the basic plan. Those missiles are encased in their own mini silos, and the Seaview is supposed to plant them in various places around the sea floor. Their onboard computers are set to detect any kind of missile launched by the other side and fire themselves in response. They're meant to be the ultimate deterrent to nuclear war. Even if the other guys pull off a successful first strike and cripple the United States land-based force, these things will guarantee fierce retaliation. Better not to even think about it.
Admiral Nelson, I'm Forrester, Intelligence Division. I'll be in charge of security on this mission.
I've been expecting you.
Thanks, Chief.
Could we, get a few of these Marines out from underfoot so we can get some work done around here?
I think we might manage that.
Warren Stevens is a familiar face on this channel. We've seen him in Wonder Woman, Land of the Giants, The Time Tunnel, and now here. Irwin seems to have liked him, and you can't blame him. The guy nailed every part he ever took on.
But they won't go far.
So that really necessary on a submarine. We've no place to go, remember? And once underway, no visitors.
Admiral, I intend to mount the tightest security I can devise, and then double it.
His job is to make sure they get where they're going and are fully functional when they're put in place.
Now, Admiral, if you'll just supply me with a set of plans for the ship and put me in touch with your captain, I'll work out the details.
Captain Crane doesn't happen to be aboard at the moment, but as soon as he is, I'll have him get in touch with you and give you the plans.
He was supposed to report 2 days ago and didn't. No wonder Nelson looked so uncomfortable talking about it. Crane is AWOL.
Do you recognize the kit on that table?
Yes. It's my shaving kit.
The term shaving kit always gives me a laugh. Want to see my shaving kit? Here it is. When I was in the Army, they made me use a safety razor, and I cut myself with it almost every day. Nobody had ever shown me how to use one. My dad went electric long before I knew what shaving was. I grew up not knowing any other way. As quick as Uncle Sam sent me home, I grabbed my electric and practically cradled it. Here's the thing. I have this scar on the point of my chin. I got it in the same bicycle accident that broke my hand. It was a lot more prominent when I was 18, but even now if I were to try and use a blade, I'd tear it open. I always laugh at guys like Crane or James Bond in Live and Let Die, the way they make a big production out of shaving. Everything has to be just so, and the process takes maybe 5 minutes after 20 minutes of preparation. You're cutting whiskers off, not writing a PhD dissertation. But the People's Republic is glad Crane makes a big production of it because they can turn his shaving kit into a lethal bag of tricks.
You will notice a raised stitch. That, in fact, is a spring latch.
Yes, I feel it.
Now press the latch. The weapon is loaded with Curara-tipped bullets. A hit anywhere in the body means instant death.
They won't show it here, but when he goes to use it, we'll see that they also gave him a silencer for it. But these guys are just warming up. There's a little monofilament just inside the cover that he needs to unhook before he opens the top. With that little device, he can tell if anybody has tampered with it. Clever. Still, the real goodies are inside.
What does it smell like?
Smells like cordite or gunpowder.
It is a plastic explosive 54 times more powerful than nitroglycerin.
The handle of the razor has the detonator cap, and when you hook it up and twist the razor head, it starts a 60-second timer. Just be extra careful how you handle the razor if you actually intend to shave with it.
Remove the bar of soap and look into it. It encases an optically precise micro-reader. In like manner, everything in the case performs a function beyond the expected.
He'll have an ally on board, but he won't know who it is and he'll never see him. Every so often, a book of matches with a particular logo will appear near him. Inside the book is a microdot. He'll get his instructions by way of those microdots. The bar of soap is for reading them.
Now notice the comb. That comb is fashioned of a titanium nickel alloy that has been highly magnetized. Its function will be explained to you as you return to your base.
We can get the answer right now. The control circuits in those missile silos are highly susceptible to magnetic interference. Forrester makes a habit of scanning everything that goes in and out of the missile room to make sure nothing is excessively magnetic. With that information in hand, we can guess what the comb is for. Oh, and there's one other thing he needs to know about his mysterious ally.
In the event that you fail, his instructions are to destroy Seaview.
The People's Republic is determined to stop the deployment of these missiles, and our unseen agent has permission to die trying.
That don't make no sense at all.
What's the mark on these matches?
An ancient trigram, the symbol through the ages, for peace.
The People's Republic likes their irony, too.
Dr. Installman.
Ah, the father of our ultimate weapon.
Ah, that's newspaper talk. It can't be one father, 500 models.
Coffee, Doctor?
No, no, thanks. Boys, to check your bags, Doctor, and Chief Jones will show you your cabin.
Veteran character actor Bert Freed has been here before, too. We saw him in Kolchak the Night Stalker, The Green Hornet, and if you're a patron, you saw him in Hogan's Heroes. And if you're not a patron, what are you waiting for? Today, he's the lead scientist who developed these things.
I'll check with you as soon as we get underway.
I hope that'll be immediately, Admiral. It's important that the President announces the existence of these weapons before the end of the conference is currently underway in Paris.
They want the President to be able to tell the other leaders at this conference that the U.S. now has the capability to wipe out every last one of them, even if they hit us first. Throughout the Cold War and beyond, peace through strength was the mantra on both sides. The difference was the United States could absorb the cost of a massive military buildup. The Soviet Union couldn't, and that's what ultimately brought them down. I think we all have our issues with Ronald Reagan, but when it came time to deal with the Soviet Union, the way he did it was pretty much the only way. Keep building up and force them to try and keep up until their entire structure collapses like it did. There were many other factors that went into it, but that was a big one. My issue with this plan is, you think they don't already know about it? Does the word espionage mean anything to you? This was the era when both sides employed almost as many spies as they did soldiers. The fact that some country has kidnapped Captain Crane over the project strongly suggests that Mr. Forrester's security was breached long before any of them came on board.
When did you see him last?
Friday night. We had dinner together and agreed to meet at the first tee at the country club at 9 the next morning. He didn't show up. I called the apartment, but he didn't answer.
Well, I can't delay much longer. We'll have to get underway without him, unless...
Admiral Nelson, the captain just came aboard.
They can finally get underway. Nelson wants to have a talk with Crane.
Chip said you wanted to see me as soon as we cleared the harbor.
Been wanting to see you for the last couple of days. Where the devil have you been?
With my mother.
Your mother?
When I got home last Friday night after dinner with Chip, I found a telegram waiting for me. My mother had been taken to a hospital. I tried to call Chip, but he wasn't home yet. I went right out to the airport and took the first plane out.
Not an excuse for failing to report in.
Well, I'm sorry about your mother, but I do think you should have notified me before you left town, especially with this mission coming up.
But I left word for you at the Institute office.
If you did. I never received it.
No, I can assure you I didn't.
All right, let's forget about it. Now, Dr. Ullman wants to see us in the observation nose as soon as possible.
We'll let that go because it won't come up again. Beyond his absence, there's nothing to raise suspicion, so they may as well get on with the task at hand.
Sir, a radio message, please?
Oh, thank you, Parker.
We don't know what the message is about. It's not relevant to the story. But we'll come back to that scene.
It's miraculous how that huge area of glass can withstand the hundreds of tons of pressure and the temperature stresses without breaking.
It isn't glass, Doctor. It's a high tensile strength plastic developed for Seaview.
If it should break, I suppose...
You suppose right, Doctor. If we were submerged at the time, that'd be the end of Seaview.
Here's an idea. Don't break it.
Can I borrow a match, Doctor, please? Thank you.
Is Dr. Ullman the spy, the guy who created these things? Well, no. Let's watch a previous clip again and pay special attention to the radio man's hands.
Sir, a radio message, please?
Oh, thank you, Parker.
We saw him put the matchbook down there. We know who the contact person is. Crane quietly collects the matchbook.
Incredible, aren't they?
So much destructive power in such a small package.
It should make war impossible. It's hard to imagine an enemy foolish enough to attack once the president's made it clear that we have dozens of ICBMs at the bottom of the sea.
The first true intercontinental ballistic missile was Germany's V-2. During the early years of the Cold War in the atomic age, both the US and the USSR worked hard to develop better, more capable ones that would be able to deliver total destruction to everybody involved. The idea was to make sure nobody could win, and hopefully that meant nobody would play. The phrase I'm dancing around is mutually assured destruction, the idea that these weapons have made war so horrible it's unthinkable that anybody would start one. It worked, but a lot of us still spent our days ready to duck and cover just in case some idiot did start one.
I must determine the precise sites for the silos, and you must hold the Seaview in exactly that position, long enough for us to drop the silos.
How deep will they go?
Into the trenches, 25,000 feet or more.
Oh, that's pretty difficult to do, Admiral. Every underwater current and every temperature change will affect the silo as it sinks.
I don't think there'll be too much difficulty. I can always double-check with the precision depth recorder in case there are any strong currents.
Sometimes you can look out over the ocean and it seems like it's as smooth as glass. And it might be on the surface. Underneath, the water is moving all the time. There are major currents that run through our oceans, and craft like submarines have to deal with them. The Seaview is advanced enough that he'll be able to hold the sub in place even in current, but the silos are another matter. Once they exit the sub, they're fair game for every current in the area. Nelson's calculations have to take all that into account if they hope to get these things in the proper locations.
What's our present position, Spencer? Mr. O'Brien, plot a course to drop coordinates.
Yes.
We can see the conflict in his mind. The programming is fighting with him and trying to find a way to stop the mission.
Spencer, as you know, this mission depends almost entirely on the inertial navigation system. Is it in perfect working condition?
It seems to be, sir.
It feels like it's overheating a bit.
We watch him move a few wires, still with that goofy smile on his face. Later, Admiral Nelson is checking the salinity of the water and a few other things. It all appears to be workable, so he needs their current position.
Mr. Morton, what's our position?
Yes, sir. Position.
Spencer! Spencer! Someone cut off circuit 12.
Captain, get up here fast. There's been an accident.
If that's what happens after the captain works on the equipment, maybe he shouldn't work on the equipment. And why didn't anybody try to help him or at least catch him? He's hurt bad, but he's alive. The doctor will do his best to keep him that way, but the navigation system is fried.
Admiral, can you tell if this thing's been tampered with?
You mean sabotaged? Well, there's no way I can tell, but why would anyone want to sabotage the inertial navigator?
Well, isn't it important to this mission?
It's vital.
Well, then, Captain, are you saying we can't carry out the mission?
Well, without the inertial system, I can't guarantee the pinpoint navigation the Admiral requires.
Everybody in the room needs to stop and ask, why is he smiling?
Then, this accident has aborted the mission.
No, Captain Crane isn't saying that at all, are you, Lee?
It means we'll have to come to periscope depth constantly to check our position by sextant. And if we run into any bad weather, we won't be able to navigate at all.
Why is he smiling?
You see, the sextant will only show us our position at surface. What's going to show it to us at 4,500 feet?
We'll have to drop Seaview as if it were in a plumb line, Lee.
Well, Seaview's not an elevator, Admiral.
You'll have to make it perform like one.
Why is he smiling? And why hasn't anybody noticed that he seems awfully happy about the mission being in peril? Fortunately, the sextant is built into the periscope so they don't have to go up onto the sail and look for stars.
We're at our position, Admiral.
Negative, Captain. The PDR graph does not verify our position. What's the matter with you, Lee?
I'm sorry, Admiral. I'm off a degree and a half on my sighting.
I think Forrester is starting to suspect something. First the navigation system, then he tries to drop the first one in the wrong place. He's pretty sure coincidences do happen, but not today.
Okay, Lee, we're at the coordinate. Take it down. Prepare to launch missile silo, Mr. Morton.
Ready, sir.
Ready, Doctor?
Ready, Admiral.
Straight down, steady as you go.
Straight down isn't happening. They're drifting off the mark faster than they expected. Go back up and try it again.
2 degrees. Right rudder.
You're drifting right into that mountain, Lee.
I'm not sure they realize that's the idea.
Get off my back, Admiral. I'm in control of the ship. 2 more degrees. Right rudder.
Port your helm, Lee. Stand fast for collision.
Well, now he did it. The boat is damaged enough that he says we have to head for home and make repairs. We can't continue in this condition.
Blow ballast and surface. Set a course 003. Head for home.
Belay that order. Where's Captain Crane?
In the observation nose, sir.
Crane doesn't have the authority to abort the mission. When it comes right down to it, the only ones who do are Ullman and Forrester. They can even overrule the Admiral.
How dare you? How dare you abort this mission without my knowledge? On whose authority?
On my authority, as captain.
Under ordinary circumstances, that would be enough. These aren't ordinary circumstances, especially inside his head.
This mission will continue if I have to hang this ship together with spit and glue.
And risk 125 lives for what?
For the future peace of the world.
Peace of the world? You hypocrite! You don't care about the peace of the world!
That's a court-martial offense, but nobody will mention it. Crane basically says,
Thanks, I needed that.
He says neither he nor the Seaview are in any condition to carry out this mission. Nelson says, fine, we'll hold position for 24 hours so you can get some rest and Dr. Ullman can fix the inertial navigator. Morton can handle the rest of the repairs and they'll be back on track. Not what Crane had in mind, but it'll have to do for now.
Has Captain Crane received any news of his mother since we've been at sea?
No, sir.
That's probably why he's Look, see if you can reach Mrs. Crane for me on the radio phone, will you, Parker?
Yes, sir.
Admiral Nelson knows what all that means, and he doesn't like it. I don't think he likes Forrester much either.
Why are you checking on Captain Crane?
Admiral, my business is suspecting people. Now, I don't need a reason, but if I did, there are several reasons for checking on Captain Crane. One, he failed to report for duty last Sunday. Two, he was missing for 3 days. And three, his faulty maneuvering of this submarine caused this mission to be delayed 24 hours. Any one of which is reason enough to check on Crane.
He's right. Don't you hate it when that happens? The radio operator reports that Mrs. Crane is in the hospital and can't receive calls.
Isn't that convenient?
Since we already know the radio operator is the other spy, we can probably write that message off as bogus. Repairs are finished and they're back on course, approaching the drop zone. It's time for the captain to take charge. But before he does, he has another microdot message. The magnetic comb is doing its job. Deploy those and there'll be so much cast-off human junk at the bottom of the ocean. Now, all the equipment is working perfectly and they're ready to make the first drop.
Admiral, before we drop these missiles to the bottom of the ocean, may I indulge myself in a bit of superstition?
Of course, Doctor.
Yes, he's going to draw what you think he's going to draw.
It's an ancient symbol meaning peace.
Right now, it means smokescreen, diversion, something along those lines, because it's supposed to make us think he's the other spy. That first book of matches was meant to plant the seed of suspicion, and this is intended to water it, but we denizens of Irving Zoo are too observant to fall for it. We also had the advantage of being able to stop, go back, and watch scenes again to catch things like we did. 1965 audiences couldn't do that. I know that for a fact because I was 12 years old and into shows like this in a big way. If there had been a way to do that sort of thing, trust me, I would have made my parents buy it for me. This time there are no problems going straight down and releasing the first silo in the right spot, mostly because Crane knows they're deploying a whole lot of nothing. He wasn't able to disarm all the missiles, so he's back to finish the job. But he'd rather not let the guard outside the door know he's there, much less what he's doing, so he bypassed him. Nobody's supposed to do that. Before he can finish this time, Forrester comes in to check on things. Better hide. I know I said better hide, but maybe I should turn that around and say hide better. That was foolish. Now they know someone is out to sabotage the project, even though they don't know who yet. Crane will leave the same way he came in.
Somebody was in this room and slugged me. Now, the guard says nobody got past him. So is there any other way into this room besides through that door?
Yes, the inspection passage through the hull. Where does that lead to?
Down the length of the ship.
How many exits are there?
About 20.
And who knows about it?
Everyone does.
That wasn't on the Seaview plans that you gave me, Captain. We could have had that sealed off.
Yeah, he knows. That's why you're the only guy on the boat who didn't know about it. Dr. Ullman is checking the missiles.
This one's been deactivated. Or how? Magnetically, I guess the silo doesn't appear to have been opened.
Well, Admiral, are you still willing to vouch for everybody aboard this submarine?
Everybody but you two, yes. And maybe that gaggle of Marines you dragged with you.
Doctor, I suggest you reactivate the silos.
Of course, but we must assume that the silos that have already been launched have also been tampered with.
I'm sure of it.
There's nothing they can do about that. They don't have a 25,000-foot grabby stick to retrieve them with. Forrester searches the ship for the offending magnetic device, and he finds the comb, hidden in Chip Morton's quarters. Meanwhile, Crane has a new microdot. I'm not sure why he's not actually connected to the project. If you want to short-circuit the whole idea, you kill Ullman, not Nelson. But that's script writing 101. It doesn't matter the reason. Always put the main character in the greatest peril. Let the viewer figure out how to make it make sense. Even with the mind conditioning, they've been friends too long to just shoot him in the back. The shock is starting to make the conditioning unravel, but it'll be safer to listen to it once he's in restraints in sickbay. Chip was never a serious suspect. He was with Admiral Nelson when Forrester was clubbed. And Forrester has been suspecting Crane all along, even before he came aboard. I'm sure he would gladly join me in saying, it's such a burden being right all the time.
Why did you try to kill me?
Kill Nelson. Instructions. Orders. Someone is watching me. My sacred duty.
It's amazing what horrible things you can get people to do by telling them that, isn't it? The jihadists will tell you it's their sacred duty to kill the infidels, even if it means a suicide attack. And lest anybody presume, the Crusaders said the same thing.
What duty, Lee? What duty?
I'm a sworn agent.
Sworn to who? To what?
The People's Republic, yes. The People's Republic, yes. No! I'm an American.
In the beginning, when they were working on him, the main reason he kept saying what they wanted to hear was because they were hitting him with high-voltage electricity. This scar is from 5,000 volts that I got while working on a TV set early in 1977. Put me on a steady diet of those and I might say some strange things too.
Did they tell you what would happen if you failed, and you have?
Use destruct device.
Destroy ship. But you can't destroy the ship now, Lee. What happens?
He will. He will.
Who's he? Who's your contact?
He doesn't know. They reason that his contact's instructions must have been coming from somewhere, but where? There's not an unauthorized radio on board, or they'd know it.
Now, wait. That's impossible.
What? Tell me. It is possible, then.
There is a radio aboard. One of the most powerful radios in the world.
Of course. Then that message about Crane's mother had to be a phony. It's got to be your radio operator, Parker.
Parker isn't at his station. He went off duty a little while ago. But they know he's going to try something very bad, so Nelson gives the order to surface. While the United States was developing doomsday bombs, the People's Republic was developing ways to put a 3-foot cord into a 4-inch razor handle. He sets the timer and prepares to go down with the ship.
Careful. The bullet hits one of those windows, we'll have the whole Pacific in here. Any minute now, it won't make any difference. He's rigging an explosive on that glass. We should broach the surface any second now.
In which case breaking the window won't matter except for the breeze.
I can't wait for that.
Mr. Morton, bring some towels to the observation dome, please. We had a little spill. I'm not sure how necessary shooting Parker was. They knew his gun was empty. Forrester saw his whole security arrangement go belly up, so I think he got frustrated and decided he had to shoot something. Nelson wouldn't let him shoot the window, so Parker was the next best thing. They'll put a steel plate over the window and finish the mission. Good thing they just happened to have one lying around, and just the right size, too. Almost as if they knew this was going to happen. Somebody's been reading ahead again.
I'm breathing underwater. I'm weightless through space. I'm soaring like an eagle all over this place. Creatures most will never see are waiting there to look at me. And all I gotta do is breathe underwater.
United States land-based force. These forced... Seems like the Crane doesn't have the authority to the first silo in the rice, but he'd rather not let